All right, my friends, welcome to episode 435 of Prof and Dev. Dave? Dave?
Dave.
Dave? Who the fuck is Dave? Prof and Dev play games, and the Dev is back. God damn it. I haven't gotten any more professional since you've been gone.
That's fine. That's fine.
I am at Prof Plays Games on Blue Sky, and we are at Prof and Dev Play Games on YouTube. We are, or at least I am, way more active on YouTube, the channel. Than
You definitely are.
So, fuck, there's a lot of shit up there now. And he is at Summer Speak on Blue Sky. How are you? It's been a while.
It has been a while. I'm doing well. I am, what is this, a week and a half back from Japan. Still with slight jet lag weirdness going on my sleep, but not hugely. I'm not young anymore. We are not young anymore. And where I recovered from this much earlier in my 20s, and my kids recovered from jet lag within days.
Yeah.
The wife and I are still kind of lingering a little bit of being like, wow, our sleep is just not the same as it was before. Is it ever going to be the same as before? I'll let you know over the next couple weeks.
We'll be tracking it in future episodes. But man, you were there a long time. You want to share some highlights of your Japan?
Yeah, so I was there 3 weeks. Man, what were some really cool highlights? Man, I'm looking at my photos now, like which was the... So yeah, we arrived in Tokyo first. We stayed in Asakusa next to Sensoji, which is like the biggest temple in Tokyo. Very crowded area, but actually a highlight of that was we got in, checked into our hotel, and then we hit Sensoji at basically golden hour, like 5-6 o'clock.
Oh, nice.
There were a ton of crowds at that time, and it was just, the whole area was just gorgeous. It was a very welcoming time into Japan. Had the best tonkatsu I've ever had in my life. I have a picture of that. Tonkatsu is a pork cutlet.
What is
and this
tonkatsu?
was like,
there we go.
Yeah, it's a fried pork cutlet. And this one was like a miso tonkatsu, so I had like a miso on the cutlet and then fried. That's what this restaurant does. They just do tonkatsu. That's it. That's their thing. It's a super small place. There was only like 4 tables total. And get used to that in Japan. Like most of the restaurants are very small and like a small number of tables, and that's just what it is. And people just cycle through. Oh, it was so good. Really enjoyed that getting there. Ghibli Museum was a lot of fun. Got tickets through the lottery to go to that thing. Got there, have some pictures from the outside, and then like on the rooftop, but you're not allowed to take pictures inside. Basically, they're like, nope, cameras down. They will tell you to not take pictures and stop you from taking pictures, because the whole thing is that it's meant to be a surprise, and it's why you can't find a lot of pictures online about it.
Right.
And it is truly just like, hey, this is an experience. You go in, there's no set path, there's no set order of having to do the exhibits or anything in there. It's just wander this building, find things. And there's tons of old Studio Ghibli Easter eggs all around. Rooms just full of storyboard sketches, early sketches from Miyazaki on all his films. It's just crazy. It's an experience. Sorry. It's much more of a vibe than anything. Other thing they have there is 3 times an hour they run a film, a little short, like 15 minutes short. And you don't know when you get the tickets what it's going to be. It changes, I think, monthly. And they've been doing this, and they never release these. There is no legal way to see these. There are some of them up as bootleg recordings from the theater online. Really bad quality, but they will never release them, because Miyazaki's thing is he doesn't want these touched by consumerism or commercialism.
Interesting.
He is Miyazaki, as someone put it, and I would agree with this from quotes from him. He's a cranky old man. overall. You should see him just destroy people when they try to do AI art. Like, there's a little quote of just him being like, "This is soulless," and like, why would any? Like, you're like, whoa, that's. I mean, I agree with you, but wow, that's a blunt and harsh reaction. But he puts so much of his love and care and empathy into his movies that there's nothing left for him as a person.
Right. Yeah, that makes
Not
sense.
that he's an unhappy person, but you just read his quotes. I see his quotes. I have an art book of Nausicaa behind me of his watercolors, and his quotes in there are just hilarious. I don't remember. One was, "I don't remember drawing this." Another one was, "I hate drawing covers. I hated drawing this." It's just funny. I'm just like, man, that's him to a T. Makes amazing films. Crotchety old man. That I don't. Hopefully, will just continue making movies. But the movie we saw was May and the Kitten Bus. It is a sequel to Totoro.
I was gonna say, like the one in Totoro.
13-minute sequel to Totoro.
Oh my fucking god! There's a sequel to Totoro.
Yep, you can look it up online, May and the Kitten Bus, and it expands cat bus lore beyond belief. There are kitten buses, which are like cars. There are cat trains, cat blimps, all sorts of things. And that made it all worth it there. No matter what, of the other stuff I saw, just being able to see that short, I was like, yep, made all this worth it, no matter what. So that was a pretty big highlight. Eorzea Cafe, Final Fantasy XIV. That was a lot of fun. Got all sorts of Final Fantasy themed, 14 themed foods and dishes and coasters, because that's what they randomly give you when you order food and drinks. You get a basically blind pool of a coaster.
I'm looking at a series of coasters, 14 here, and it looks like like Ifrit looks like one of them. Maybe that's
one of them. Like, there's the jobs up top, because whenever you go, you get to pick one, which is a job.
Okay, so like Red Mage, Black
Red Mage, Dancer, Black Mage, and Paladin are the ones we chose. And then the rest, the ones you get during there are like either bosses or other things. So like Ramu, Shinryu is one of them. Bahamut is one. Ifrit, Ravina.
This text is interesting because I can read it, so it must be
somewhat English.
English, but it's very like stylized.
It is very stylized. It's in 14, like on the map and everything. All the names are using this like created alphabet for the game, but it's close enough where you can kind of piece things together a bit. It's pretty interesting there. I mean, that was it. We did that. There's that, like, we did that and left and came back to Akihabara a little bit later, and we didn't know this was a thing, but on Sundays in Akihabara, they shut the street from 12 to 6, so pedestrians can just walk in the middle of the street on the main street. I have some pictures of that, and that was a neat experience. We're just walking down the middle of this giant district in Japan, and that's like the electronics district, games, anime, things like that. And I will say, I never want to go back there unless I want something specific. It is so touristy and crowded.
Oh, interesting.
And honestly, like, the game shops there, I have some pictures in game stores as well. The prices were like 3 or 4 times higher
because they know the tourists are there.
The place is catering to tourists.
Yeah.
And 20 years ago, it was like this little niche neighborhood known for its kind of weird and quirky stuff. And it was the electronics neighborhood where you could actually go just buy electronic parts, like actual like capacitors. Like actually that's what it was built on, and like photography and stuff. And that's kind of gone away because it's now very much like, hey, if you're into anime or games, go to Akihabara. And so a lot of people go there. It's kind of a trend from our time in especially Tokyo, was being like some of these neighborhoods that we were like, wife went there when she was there, and then I visited her 22 years ago at this point. were pretty small, but now they're just incredibly touristy. So that's just my thing. I'm like, it's cool to see Akihabara now once like this, but I don't need to go back. It's like, all right, that's fine. That's what it is. And like I said, unless there was something specific I wanted to get from a store there, I've seen it.
And did you find anything there that you were like, oh, this is something I need to grab?
I bought 3 RPG books. Japanese RPGs called Sword World. It's what Record of Lotus War came from.
Oh, that's what you talked about a couple episodes ago.
Yeah,
right?
So I got the 3 core books for that in Japanese. It's never been translated to English. I can use Google Translate to translate parts of it. Sure. But I just wanted to pick them up, and that was from a RPG store in Akihabara. I looked at some of the used game stores because there was 2 used games, Japanese specific games I wanted. I wanted Final Fantasy 12, International Zodiac Job System, which was the PS2 International Edition, and then Guild 01, which is the physical compilation of like Crimson Shrouds on it, Battle Maiden thing. All those like small games that we only got digitally in the US, they actually got a physical cart in Japan that had all 4 or 5 of them on it. Couldn't find it at all, and I went to a lot of used game stores throughout the entire country. And that's my other thing. Would say if you're going to look for specific games, wow, the used game market in Japan has been picked over. Holy cow.
It's like people have picked shit up already. Got it.
Oh yeah. I was shocked that I couldn't find that Final Fantasy 12. Like it's not an uncommon thing. I just nope. Like I could get it on eBay for $20 right now, and I'm like, why couldn't I find this at any of the used game stores I went to? And I knew Akihabara may have been picked over, so that was fine. But I went to a bunch of like book offs, which are great, hard offs as well, in Kyoto and Hiroshima and all the small outlying towns we were at. Couldn't find a thing. Very picked over on that part. Got to see Giant Gundam, life-size Gundam. It's a thing. They built 3 of these. I'm taking 1 down, but there are two left. That was amusing to see. I'm trying to think of other. So, like, that's the beginning. Man, it was 3 weeks. There was so much.
I'm looking through all your photos and like, Jesus Christ, there's so much here. It's awesome.
Fushimi Inari in Kyoto, we went there, which super crowded at the bottom. Walk 10 minutes as you start going up the mountain.
Less crowded?
Everyone. Oh, yeah. Everyone just... no one goes up the whole way. We went to the summit,
That's
and
funny.
there was maybe a half dozen other people up at the summit with us. It was like... You can even see it in the pictures. Super crowded at the beginning, and as the pictures go, there's just less and less people in the background. And that was really cool. That was up in Kyoto, and that's the place, like, I think a lot of people would have seen online. That's just like thousands of torii gates, red torii gates, as you're lining the path. It's very iconic, and I had never been there before. My wife had, but it was really, really cool to see. I really, really liked it. Happy to do that. The next part was we got sick in Kyoto, so finally we got a cold. It was just a cold. It took like 2 days to get over, but we didn't really go out. We canceled our plans in Kyoto for 2 days, which was unfortunate. So we didn't see as much. And I'm sad about that. But my wife did find, she went out on one day. We kind of split days where it's like, she's like, all right, I'm going to mask up and I'm going to go out and do my shopping. I feel good enough to go out and do shopping. Grab some things in Kyoto that she really wanted. But she got off a bus and just walked into this like courtyard, and it happened to be a shrine, and it's because she just approached it from like a weird alley or like way. You ever heard of Nobunaga at all?
No.
Is that
the historical figure? Is that wrong?
Yeah. This is where he
also
died.
A game.
Yes.
Yeah.
She
got it.
found out. She went to the place where he was killed.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, this is where he died." And we were collecting these things called Goshuen, which is temple and shrine stamps. It's basically so Shinto shrines and Buddhist temples do it in Japan, and they use red stamps with black calligraphy on them that show like the date, where you are, and they all have specific images, and it's meant in the past of being like, show your pilgrimage through Japan, use special accordion style notebooks. You have Gosho and Chos. They will only do it in those books. I saw some people at one point at one of the shrines being like, oh, can you do it in this notebook? And they're like, no, it's a big faux pas. Like, no, it's like, so we have this, and we would go to shrines and get these Goshuin stamps throughout. And sometimes they just give you paper ones that they've already done that you can paste into your Goshuin, like the busier places.
Yeah.
But here they got one. She got this like double page where it's like this crazy image of like stylized image of like Nobunaga on it and everything. It's like, what the hell? I didn't get it, but I'm very jealous. But it was nice that, like, even though we were sick and stuff, we were able to just kind of find things like that, and come across it. There was a festival at Himeji when we went there. We didn't plan this, but it was the Himeji festival for the weekend, and they were having big parade and dances and just like local celebration. And the Himeji Castle is the big white and stone castle that is a World Heritage Site, and people will see pictures of. And that was incredible. We just sat and had some good food and watched like local clubs and groups perform their different crafts and traditional dances, or some people were singing pop songs. It was stuff you can't just plan for. You're just like, yep, I'm here, I'm experiencing this. That was a big highlight. But man, I mean, like, we're only like a weekend at this point, a week and a half. Went to Hiroshima. That was cool to see. I mean, that city was wiped out 79 years ago. Just didn't exist anymore.
Yep. And
now we're there seeing it, and went to the Peace Memorial Museum, and it talks through the dropping of the atomic bomb and the aftermath. And the aftermath is what just really, really kind of heartbreaking. From a standpoint of just like even how much the Japanese population like ostracized the people who went through the atomic bomb and survived.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Like, stay away from us. We don't understand what's wrong with you. Just like very chronic, prolonged problems of health, and like people would just ignore them. They didn't want anything to do with it because like maybe they could get affected by it and stuff, because people didn't understand.
They didn't know. Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of heartbreaking. They have a lot of those stories in there, and you're just like, oh. But it was neat to see, and it was profound and in the right way. And I don't think it was like, it's not gratuitous or anything like that, but it's just like, hey, yeah, this is a real thing that happened. And it doesn't try to point fingers at like any kind of like blame of like why it happened, or it shouldn't or should not have happened. And it's like very much focused on like, but let's never have this happen again. Yeah. Ever. Mm-hmm. Like, nuclear weapons should not be used against populations. This is terrible. So that was a profound thing, and that was neat. Inadvertently led my family through the red light district a little earlier than things would have really, about 5 o'clock. Go to dinner, because Google Maps doesn't care about anything like that. They're just like, from our hotel to dinner, these are the streets you take. It's like, okay, we're walking, and it's fine. Like I said, it's early enough at night, but I'm like, I'm starting to see words and certain things, and I'm like, oh, I know what this means. Ooh. Yeah, let's just keep walking. Heads down. After dinner, we're not walking back this way. We're going to take the long way around. After I Google like red light district Hiroshima, and it is the exact name of where we walked through. I was like, cool. All right. Google doesn't care. That would be a cool option to have, being like, hey, Google, when you give me directions, can you not do this?
Avoid red light districts.
Yeah. I have kids, which is fine, but yeah, that was a fun one. The one for education, I guess, for our listeners, I was seeing things that were for soap lands, which prostitution is illegal in Japan. But like gambling is illegal in Japan with pachinko parlors, there's these weird loopholes that people have figured out. So, with pachinko, start there being like, you can play pachinko, amass the balls from pachinko. You don't actually trade those for money. The pachinko parlors, you can trade those balls in and get these different metal tokens. It just so happens across the street, someone will buy those metal tokens from you.
Oh, someone unconnected, surely, from the casino.
Yeah, and it's completely unconnected. How could they be connected?
Yes,
That would
of
be
course.
absurd. So the prostitution brothel thing is, and Soapland is, you're paying so you can go in and take a bath and a shower, soap up. It just so happens that you might come across a beautiful woman there, and you might just hit it off. Who knows? How can we tell you what fate has in store for you?
Oh my god. So then someone pays for that experience, does not interact with anyone like that, and comes out and says, "What the fuck?" They're like, "What? What are you talking about? This is not
Exactly.
ridiculous." Oh no.
Oh, holy cow.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's hilarious, but I knew what Soapland. I was like, oh, I know what that term is. We should go.
Oh
and
my
a bunch of
gosh.
bars and different things. So that was a fun experience. God, so many temples and shrines. I mean, you just look at my pictures. We had such a good time.
Yeah. Oh god.
Like,
Dude.
we were seeing so much neat stuff. I thought my kids would be tired of shrines and temples by the end, but they loved them because they're just so different in all the different places.
Yeah, sure.
The Shinkansens were great.
Oh my god, I fucking will never ever forget that word. For listeners, I'm in an online trivia league where there are 6 questions a day, and I have never had a day where I've gotten a perfect score, which is all 6 right. And there was a day where I got 5 out of 6, and there was a question about basically a bullet train. And it was like,
what do these characters mean? Like, how do you say it in Japanese?
Yeah, exactly. Basically. And it's like, it's been popularized since the 1950s, and I was like, fuck,
Yep.
I have no idea. I wrote monorail, which is dumb, but I couldn't think of anything. And as I was submitting, I was like, god damn it, there's a word that Anthony has used that is probably this answer. And I was like, no, it can't be. And then I was texting him, and I was like, sent the picture, right? And I was like, you have never said this word around me, have you? He's like, here, in this fucking Discord chat is the word I used like 3 days ago. God damn it.
I mean, I will say, we've probably talked about it, and I bet you could go back to previous recordings when we're talking about me going to Japan.
Sure.
And I bet I've said Shinkansen, I mean bullet train.
Yeah,
So people, not everyone knows Shinkansen.
Damn it.
Yeah. So we use those. Those were great. 178 miles per hour on train, just flying down through these places, and it's so smooth. Just flying.
I want here so badly.
Yeah. That was really cool. And then I think towards like whenever now we've talked, like we've had a week and a half back, and like definitely I think for my family and I, our favorite part of the trip, and I was really surprised with my kids too, is the week we did up in the mountains. So the small town we stayed at, which was like a traditional Japanese room, 10 tatami floor mats. We rolled out our futons, slept on it. They made us like dinner. It was very traditional there. And then that's like this little tiny mountain town. And then we walked the next day 4 hours and just through this trail. And the trail was beautiful. Pictures I have up are just incredible. And I'm like, I miss it. I miss it so much. So cool. It was so peaceful and relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
But this town, it was gorgeous. It was relaxing. But we went there and did all that, and then we rented a car, and I drove for 3 days. Had a car.
And is it opposite sides?
Yeah, it's opposite sides.
Damn, that's crazy.
Which I adjusted to pretty quickly. Just in my head was just like, hey, I'm the driver, so I need to be towards the middle of the road. Mm-hmm. So that's how I kept myself straight there. The thing I couldn't keep straight was the windshield wipers and the blinker.
Oh, they're opposite sides.
Yeah, and my instinct to use a blinker, so I just kept count of how many times I hit the windshield wipers instead of the blinkers. I was up to 7, which I could have been more. But like, if I took time to think about turning on the blinker, I would do
Mhm.
it right. But it was just if
Yeah.
I was just instinctually by habit doing it, I was like, "Yep, windshield wiper." That was funny, but survived. Man, that was a good time. Like the mountains are incredible. We stayed at this small town called called Takayama, which I had the best steak of my life there.
And what was the name of it
Like,
again? It wasn't Wagyu, it was something else.
it is a form of Wagyu.
Oh, okay.
So Wagyu is like the marbling, and like you can get Kobe beef that is Wagyu. Is
Mhm.
Kobe is like one of the main ones, but this is Hita beef, so it's from the Hita region where we were.
Okay.
Its marbling is just different, but oh my god, I don't think I'm ever gonna have a better steak, and I feel sad because the only way I'm gonna get that steak again is to go back because you can't. I looked on Google if I could even import
Mhm.
beef from here. You can't. Like, I'm like, no, I want it. It's
Oh,
so
no.
good.
You tasted the promised land.
Yeah, and I'm
Oh,
like,
man.
well, going back to Takayama, I'm gonna get this thing again.
Gives you
So
something
that
to look back
was
to.
yeah,
Look forward to again, I mean.
but I think that's a place I'm like, I want to go back to Takayama. I want to go back into this mountain town. I want to explore it more. I want to go there, and then we stayed at an onsen about a little bit away from it. We had a couple hour drive, hour and a half drive, even further up into the mountains. An onsen is hot spring, um, traditional Japanese inn that had a hot spring, and they were incredible. It was hot and it was relaxing and it was beautiful. It was right on a river and these gorgeous mountains. It was good. Um, it's that, and then I wanted to go back to Kanazawa, which is the last city we went to before returning to Tokyo. Like that chunk of the trip, I'm just like, I just want to go back there. I could probably spend another week there easily and be happy and just chill and relax and explore. A fun thing with Takayama is I went to the shrine that inspired Your Name, where the woman girl in Your Name, her small little village is inspired by this whole region up there, but the specific like Torii Gate and shrine is inspired by one of the shrine in Takayama. I got pictures by it. It's
That's cool.
is very cool. I don't know, man. I had a blast. I know
Dude.
there's so many other places in the world I could go, but I'm like, I kind of just want to go back to Japan again
Yeah.
already.
Right.
There's so much to explore there.
Well, my daughter is already like making us promise that we'll take her to Japan. And we want to take her when she's around your daughter's age, I think. And
I think that's that good age. Like my daughter
yeah,
had a good time. She handled all the walking. Like we were doing. Our low days were 16,000 steps. Our high days were about 25,000 steps.
Jesus Christ. Okay, gotta
I
work
mean,
up to that.
you walk a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
And I would say at the beginning we were killing ourselves. By the end of the trip, we were fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think
but yeah,
showing her your pictures, she would be like, "Okay, when do we book our tickets?" Because
you
these
got
pictures
years.
they're so good. Yeah, exactly. We told her, 10 is a good time. Then or after, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
Boy, well, that's cool, man. That
Yeah.
sounds totally amazing.
My
Welcome
wife got
back.
to go back to Waseda, the school that
Oh, the school she went to. That's right.
so she has some pictures of her by her like international studies building there, and
That's so cool. Going
got to
back
see
is
the
such a trip.
Square Enix offices. They are actually like a 20-minute walk from Waseda, so that's why we just walked to them. Yeah, I'm glad to be back, but
But you want to
3 weeks is a long time. Like we were ready to come
Yeah,
home by the
yeah,
end of it,
yeah,
but I'm like,
yeah.
there's so much I want to see there and be there. Got a lot of stuff there. They're like, hey, there's a lot of advertisements. That like the yen is weak. You should buy property here. And I'm like,
In my go ahead.
well, sure. That still doesn't give you a visa to be in the country.
Uh-huh.
So, at best now, you could theoretically do a 6-month visa because they have a nomad worker visa if you're like a remote worker
Ew,
for 6
interesting.
months. But I'm like, that's still only 6 months. Like, yeah, there's a lot of stats. They want people to buy property because right now, nationwide, we saw this right before leaving, there's 13.8% of houses are vacant in the country,
Whoa.
with some of the rural places, prefectures, states, roughly, are pushing closer to like 22% vacancy. Like
Is
1
it
in 5
because
houses just vacant.
is it because of the low birth rate or something
That
else?
adds to it, and then a lot of people from the countryside, especially, are moving to to cities, the younger,
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
for
Sure.
work.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of social problems in Japan that they're going to have to tackle with.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know how. Like, yeah, the birth rate in Tokyo, whatever the value is that they measure it, countrywide, it has dropped to 1.2.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just like the number of kids people are having
Right, which
is
is
1.2.
below
So it's
replacement.
less, it's low than 2, it's below replacement.
Yeah.
Tokyo dropped to 0.99 while we were there. They just put out the latest thing. So
Wow.
people in Tokyo are now starting to just not have kids
Yeah.
at all. Yeah, they don't, and as a country, they don't, like, their government and stuff has no good solutions for this yet. As I found out while I was there, a lot of from people talking to different people, basically the government is made up of a lot of old generation people
Mm.
that aren't taking the problem seriously. Um, so yeah, I don't know what it looks like in the future, but you could buy property pretty cheap. But they don't make it easy for you to actually visit your property.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because in the Axe of Blood God Discord, for some reason this last week they're talking about how the yen is weak against the dollar.
Yep.
I don't know if it's historically or not, but
It's historically, it's pretty.
okay.
It's like at least since the '90s, like early '90s.
Yeah, it's why Nintendo's not releasing a Switch this year. That was the number one reason why.
Okay.
Who was it? Oh, it was Per Schneider at IGN, who lived in Japan for a very, very long time and understands Japan very well. And the way it always discusses the Nintendo financial reports in terms of like yen versus dollar, blah, blah. And when it was getting to the time where they were talking about rumors about being pushed, even though it has never been, officially pushed, I guess it was never announced.
Yeah.
He was like, "It's the yen. It's so low. Like it's thought to be better next year, but who the fuck knows? It's a guess.
Yeah, it's hard
but
to
it's
say.
so
I'll
bad
be honest.
now that they would be losing money, and they don't want to do that. So there's no
Yeah,
reason to come out this year.
it's not great.
If,
It's great for tourism, though. I'll tell you that.
yeah, it's great for tourism. It's great for people who are making, whatever, buying property, I guess. But Nintendo, if the yen was not weak against the dollar right now, the Switch 2 would be out this fall.
I'm sure.
I just thought that was super interesting.
Yeah.
To think about.
Yeah, it is affecting a lot of things. And yeah, they've tourism is definitely one way they're trying to keep it propped up. Well, this is a statistic I heard. Like, we wouldn't go in there. I'm saying, like, places were crowded. Different areas were crowded. 22 years ago, early 2000s, there was about 3 million foreign tourists to Japan a year. As of this year, 3 million total.
Okay.
3 million foreign tourists a year to Japan. As of this year, 31 million is the estimate. Foreign tourists a year.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
There's so many tourists.
Yeah.
One, because like you said, the yen is weak, so it's very advantageous to go there. But Japan pop culture has become more accepted across the world in a lot of ways. For good or bad. So yeah, it's an experience there. The one other part that was kind of sad to us was Harajuku, which 22 years ago got out of that station. There was like bands playing next to the station on this bridge. There was cosplayers. Like, this was like the alt fashion central as well. Like, you'd find like new clothing designers just doing crazy stuff. Yeah, that street now, that main street that everyone talked about, Takeshita Street, now has like Skechers on it. There's an IKEA there, a McDonald's, like, and then it's just like you get into the street and it's just shoulder to shoulder people just going down the street until it pushes out the other end. Like, it's just a wall to wall people, and I'm like, I will never go back here.
Yeah.
But we did find where the alt fashion moved into the other parts of the back streets, and it was neat. And I'd totally go back there, but I'm like, nope, never have to go down this street ever again.
Did it once, then we have to go back.
Did it once, and I was like, and it was also just sad to know that's like, oh, this is just a big touristy thing now. Like,
It's
this
like
is not
Hate Street in San Francisco, right? Where before it was very
totally.
much, yeah, and then it's
It
not.
was part of counterculture kind of stuff, and like just had a totally different vibe. Now it's just a big touristy vibe. Like people who say, I walked down to Keshtadori and had a crepe and saw some of these like quirky little stores, and that's about it. But it was none of the old fashioned stuff. But like I said, we found that in the basement of a department store and some back streets. So, but yeah, different vibes. Things have changed, but I think that's kind of also why we're like, oh, we'd love to just go back to the mountains.
Right, away from all the people.
Yeah, there were still tourists there, but it was much more chill.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing about your trip.
No problem.
I will now spend the next half an hour talking about my trip to Humboldt County. No, just kidding.
Oh, fun.
Absolutely fucking not do that.
Anything change? It's all the same?
Yeah, all the same. I came across 36 and it was paved more.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, so why don't we move on to some, I know there's not very much of it, but let's talk about some video game news.
Oh yeah, there's
Holy shit, it's video game news season.
I was not prepared, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah,
I was just like, it just started happening. I was like, wait, it's all happening now. What?
There is so much happening. It's it's the season, obviously, of video game news. It's Summer Game Fest / not E3. But there was IGN Live happened. PC Gamer had a PC gaming show. There was Summer Game Fest. The Guerrilla Collective, Women Led Games had a event yesterday. Wholesome Direct happened yesterday. Future of Play Direct, which I don't remember what that is. Next Fest is coming up tomorrow. Xbox Showcase happened today. There was the Devolver Direct, which happened a couple days ago. Future Games Showcase, I believe, happened. And then there was a Latin American Games Showcase as well, which actually started yesterday and is ongoing, which is cool. So a lot of shit. We are not going to go piece by piece through every single one of those because, wow. But we're going to hit the highlights or the lowlights as we see fit. So where the hell do you want to start?
I just want to start with this because let's just do it. So Xbox today, they showed the first trailer for Dragon Age: The Veilguard. I'm already pretty neutral on that change of that title from Dreadwolf. Overall, wow. I responded very poorly to this trailer, real poorly.
And you were talking about the art direction, or what's going on?
Art direction. I think the whole vibe of the whole trailer. I'm just like, this isn't Dragon Age. This is not the Dragon Age I've played. The art style goes into that because it's very plasticky, Fortnite-y.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at first I'm like, are they announcing like a Dragon Age like
mobile game
hero shooter thing?
Oh fuck yeah,
because that's what it looks like, and the trailer actually is kind of cut together that way. They're using David Bowie Heroes on top of it and like slowed down. I'm like, I absolutely hated that. I'll be honest. I'm getting real tired of these like slowed down covers. There's a lot that just like hit me. I was just like, this doesn't feel like Dragon Age to me. The banter didn't feel like Dragon Age to me. Felt like weirdly like modern quippy in some ways. Again, hero shootery. Like I was really expecting. I was like, oh, this isn't Veilguard. They're doing some weird Dragon Age like co-op or co-op multiplayer thing, horde survival. I was not a fan. I don't like the feel of it. It's like even further away from the dark fantasy that is Dragon Age. Like again, it didn't. The art direction especially did change to the very bright and vibrant and clean, very clean art style. I was like, this just doesn't look good to me. This doesn't in this IP, it doesn't look good to me because it just doesn't fit in my brain. Like, which I get. None of the people that made Dragon Age actually are at BioWare anymore. So
yeah, I think that's the big thing here is that this is very different people doing this. I
honestly believe that once this comes out, I don't think EA is ever going to do anything with not BioWare, with Dragon Age again.
Or maybe BioWare. Maybe they'll.
They still have Mass Effect 4 to put out.
Yeah.
Theoretically, that will maybe happen. But
Yep.
I actually think this is just like, they're done with Dragon Age. I don't think this can ever make back the money that they want it to. And EA, this is going to be single player RPG that has come out. It's going to have real time pause combat.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that's like, I think EA just wants to cut their losses as best as they can here. Because it's been developed for a long time. This is probably like the third version. I'm just like, no, they just want to get this out. They want to make what money they can. And then I think they're just going to sunset this or try to make something that will make infinite money, which a single player RPG is not going to. And I know the industry is hopefully changing back to more traditional over time, but
boy, after Baldur's Gate 3, how can you not?
But I do think that EA's, Activision's, Microsoft's, Sony's even are very slow to adopt to that.
Yeah.
Especially whenever you still have these enormous ongoing live service games that still make a majority of the money in the video game market. I don't know. I can get into that. There's some pessimism for me there, being like, "Oh my god, what's going on?"
Well, I think rightly so. Before we get into that, I do want to for me, I had a very opposite reaction to this trailer. Some of the things were the same for me. I will start with the things that did not work for me. I agree with you on the art style. The way that it started off with Varric specifically, I assume that's Varric. He's the only one.
It is Varric.
Yeah, didn't have a name pop up, but that's Varric. I was like, why does he look like he's from Sea of Thieves? Like,
yep.
What's happening here? I put this together. A couple things. The lack of gameplay. I mean, obviously, we're gonna have gameplay in a couple of days, but the lack of gameplay here, I think, did us a disservice because
coming out this year, within 6 months.
Yeah, and I know they're gonna have the deep dive on the 11th, which is what, Tuesday. And this contributed to Xbox having a very great paced showcase. We don't need to get into those details; those will come later. That's fine. But I don't know what the game is going to look like, but it's not going to look like this. So that juxtaposition, I think, is even worse. However, with the news recently where they're like, we're going to drop Dreadwolf, we're going to put the Veilguard because this game is about these people and these companions, and then this is really like an introduction to those companions. I love this as a vibe piece. Like, okay, these are people coming together, going to do something heroic. I actually really like the song in the background. It made me feel very like hyped up for this kind of story, but I don't have a deep connection to Dragon Age, so I don't know what Dragon Age is. I played, Inquisition, and that was kind of it. But this is very much
Inquisition.
Oh, hell no. No,
okay,
I put like 60 hours into the game. I did not beat it. Okay. But I feel like I put enough into it to get out of it what I wanted to get out of it. But this, so I don't feel like the divergence from what Dragon Age was into something else that doesn't bother me. But I totally agree with you. Like, that's what it was, and this is not what it is. But the way, I think, to not have quickly here's what the game is, let's dig into what it is, to, I don't know, kind of saturate some of what's coming across in this trailer and not distill it, but what's what I'm looking for? Put something into a solution and it weakens it in some way. I cannot remember the fucking word I'm looking for right now. But this by itself, everything you said makes a ton of sense. I emotionally reacted differently to this because I don't have much interaction with this franchise.
That was just the problem. I'm just like, this does not feel like Dragon Age at all to me. Even from the other media I've watched. So like they did the anime. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I watched that. That was fine. It was a little bit cleaner, but it was still a dark fantasy. Like, Dragon Age is dark. Like, real freaking dark. So it just, again, the art to me, the biggest vibe thing where it was all very clean. And I'm like, it's not clean. Like I said, I went back and was watching Dragon Age Inquisition trailers, and I'm like they have a whole trailer with Varric for Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm like, Varric looks better in this in the DA Inquisition trailer.
Yeah.
Than this Veilguard trailer. It just does. I'm just like, that's Varric, and that's been Varric for the entire franchise. So Why are we making them look all like, I don't know, low poly, bright kind of thing going on? I don't know. Smooth 3D art. Yeah, I didn't know. It could still blow me away gameplay wise, I guess. But I'm not holding out hope here.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the make or break for me, is what that gameplay is gonna look like on Tuesday. Boy, yeah, I like that for the most part. The Xbox showcase didn't have, as far as I can remember, a ton of CG only. There was a lot of gameplay, especially for the Xbox games.
Did it say it was CG only?
It did not. I don't. I had the trailer.
I have it up. Let's see if it actually says.
I don't think it did.
If it says anything.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. No, game engine footage. Right there.
Okay. So this is what this
is what the game looks like. These are the models.
Okay, that changes things a little bit for me.
Not all images appear in game engine footage. Not all images appear in the game.
Well, sure,
but this is what the game looks like. This is an engine.
This is what the cutscenes will look like, at least.
Yeah, but this is the art style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is in engine models.
Okay.
Designs.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's built on Frostbite, like they've been building stuff on. I mean, theoretically, it could be Unreal. But I feel like EA is still. This thing's been in development long enough. They were still all about their Frostbite. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's the problem. Is like I'm watching it. Like I watched it a couple times, and I'm like, oh yeah, the new companions could be really cool, but I'm just so distracted by everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not distracted in a good way.
Yeah,
clearly,
which is unfortunate. Yeah, just like I don't know why this is the direction, the art style they want to go with, and the look and feel that they want to go with. Yeah, I don't know. But that one wasn't great for me. But overall, the Xbox showcase was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I thought overall it was a fucking banger. Like almost beginning to end. I was surprised by some stuff. There was cool stuff that I had heard about. There was cool stuff I hadn't heard about. I thought South of Midnight was one of the best ones in the show, and it looked
really neat.
Holy shit! Like this,
my small anecdotal thing is about a quarter of the people that I know and my like work discords and other thing can't handle the art, the stop motion. It really, they're like, it looks beautiful, but I can't play this. Like they have a hard time.
Nauseous or something like that.
Yeah, nauseous, and it's hard. Like there's like they're having a hard time just looking at the frame at the screen. Yeah. Like it, which I'm like, I get. This is a pretty dramatic choice in art style, and some people are just gonna have a hard time with it. So that's a choice. It doesn't bother me. I think it looks really cool because I love interesting takes like that.
Well, I love that Spider-Verse kind of like burst animation open. It was like, hey, try different shit. On a scale. For me, this is such a weird thing. I mean, this has not been on my radar. I haven't seen a lot of it. Certainly the stop motion kind of, I don't know, cutscenes in between the action. But this game looks like Kena Bridge of Spirits to me. Like everything else, the battle, the environments looks like Kena to me. And I was like, holy shit, this could be rad. And then to watch, that everything together was like, this is the point of the showcase, right? Here's a game we told you about a couple years ago. Here's what it looks like now. And it's like, shit, you have my attention. Xbox succeeded because enough of this showcase was like, all right, my Xbox Game Pass expires in September. I'm going to re-up. There's a lot of shit coming that looks good. So good job, Phil.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff in there that, like, the Doom, the Dark Ages stuff, I don't know if I'll play it just because I'm so bad at the new Doom games.
Sure.
But they look amazing, and I love what they do, the frenetic energy of it. And I'm like,
I love this idea of like, it's this fucking hardcore, murdery kind of thing, sci-fi, but we're going to put on this layer of fantasy in a way that, like, I didn't know how, because the leaks came out, I didn't know how they're going to make this make sense, but I mean, it looks like it makes sense in a weird sort of way, and
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this. And I don't play Doom very well or very much.
Yeah.
I dabbled in 2016. That's about it. I probably played 2 or 3 levels, and I was like, this is just too red. Like I very much don't like the color red. So playing a whole game that's red, I don't care how great it is. I'm having a hard time here. So this does not look red. So
No,
I know
this
that's
is really
silly and
neat.
stupid, but that's it.
That one looked really cool out of there. Man, the Diablo 4 trailer. Do you watch Vessel of Hatred's trailer? That
It's
is some Hellraiser body horror shit.
it's I was listening to it. I did not watch it, and I was like, you know what? I'm glad I'm not watching this
Probably
right now.
that was disturbing. It was
Yeah.
real disturbing.
I
I'm
think it was
very excited, but
uh-huh.
we'll get to what I've been playing and we can talk about that.
But I was listening to MinMax their playthrough, and for some reason I was not up watching that specific one. I heard them reacting very strongly.
They're like, oh god.
Yeah, exactly.
The horror is very back. Probably the one that like really really excited me in this whole thing was Perfect Dark.
Interesting.
Oh, it's an immersive sim. I am
Oh
here for it.
yeah. It
I
definitely
am
looks like
so here for
it. Mm-hmm.
Crystal Dynamics, especially getting to do another immersive sim. This is okay. You didn't get to do another Deus Ex. Well, we're doing Perfect Dark instead, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, because
So,
the coalition. It's a coalition. Am I wrong?
Coalition. It's Coalition and the Initiative. And
The
Crystal
initiative. There we
Dynamics.
go. Yeah, because then they were doing their thing, and then all of a sudden it was like Crystal Dynamics is coming in to help, but maybe
Yeah.
do more than just help.
Yeah, I think that they'd probably get them over the finish line. And Crystal Dynamics has just they understand the immersive sim.
Yeah.
And this game just that trailer just oozed immersive sim to me, and it was neat to see again. And I don't think I'm actually that hard to please, and give me an immersive sim that plays well, and I'm good. That's all I need. Doesn't have to be amazing. Just needs to play well.
Well, I love seeing at the beginning of the trailer, it was the initiative and Crystal Dynamics like we are like same tier together on this. We're not a support studio. We're doing this together.
Yeah. So that was the one that really excited me out of all of that.
I think it was cool. I'm looking forward to checking that out. It's one of the ones that's like I add them all together. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get Game Pass again. But the one that surprised there are 2 in here that surprised the shit out of me, and one of them was Expedition 33 or Claire.
Oh yeah,
Expedition 33. I thought that looked neat as shit. Never heard of it.
Nope.
It says it's a surrealist new world inspired by France's La Belle Epoque, a period famous for its stunning and lavish contributions to the country's world-renowned culture of art.
Yep.
And that just like it bleeds all over this game. That French art aesthetic.
Yeah. It is a French studio making it. I looked it up because I was like,
is it
making this? Yeah.
That's great. That's good news. It looks beautiful, but then the fucking combat where almost like Persona like.
I was like, it's turn-based? Holy crap.
Yeah, it looks like turn-based, just aesthetically beautiful where it pops up the menus as you're battling. And there's also the Paper Mario piece too, where there's the real action or whatever it's called.
Yeah, like press during the attacks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I went to the company's website because I was like, I looked it up earlier, the people making it, and I was like, because I don't know what this is. It was called Project W on their website. But their whole team is made up of people that just love like Persona.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Final Fantasy 7, 8, the whole Final Fantasy series, like Paper Mario, Mario RPG, like they list games that inspire.
Oh my god, it looks like
I'm
all
like,
those put together.
You're just making your French version of that.
Yeah, dude. That's what it looks like, and it looks. I hope it. God damn it! Please play good because it looks amazing. The other one that blew me away, it was another one that I wasn't aware of at all. It's fucking Mixtape. So, and this is crazy because I didn't really vibe with The Artful Escape, but it's the same company. And did you see this?
I see this one. There's at one point I had it step away. No, I don't think I did see
So
that.
it's on their last night of high school, three friends embark on one more adventure together. En route to their final party together, the perfectly curated playlist draws them into dreamlike reenactments of their formative memories together. It is
Right, no, I did see this trailer. This was cool.
It is beautiful, just like that end of high school. Like, let's relive everything as we go on to the next chapter. And the fucking soundtrack, Devo, Smashing Pumpkins, Iggy Pop, Joy Division.
You're like, this is made for us.
This is made for us, exactly.
This is made for our generation.
After watching everything on the showcase, and there's just killer, huge games. You know, this is not a AAA game, but
this is Annapurna, wasn't it? Yeah,
Annapurna's publishing it, but it's done by
Beethoven. That totally makes sense, though. Yeah, but I'm like, yep, that would be Annapurna for sure.
Dude, like Artful Escape has some really interesting stuff going on. I just didn't stick with it and vibe with it overall. But man, this one might be it. It
sure,
awesome. Yeah, so those stood out to me. And then another one, I just loved the Stalker 2. And I played Stalker back when it first came out, right after I got out of Peace Corps, I think. But just starting the Stalker trailer with that little thing in the left corner that said "Made in Ukraine," and just hearing, hearing the fucking Ukrainian, like that's Ukrainian. I know there's going to be Russian in there later,
sure.
but I'm going to play this in Ukrainian. I don't play this kind of game, and I got just fucking chills and vibes because, like, fuck everything that's going on, man. And having lived in Ukraine for so long, I fucking want this. So that's another one. It was like, okay, there's another Game Pass game that I wasn't on my radar and now is. And I think it had a release. Was it?
September.
September. That was it. Yeah, September 5th.
Yep.
Day before Astrobot.
I have it on my my Fantasy Critic. I picked up.
Oh, nice. Very good. I hope it does well. I really hope it does well.
I think it will do decently.
Yeah. But
it should.
I want to play Ukrainian so bad.
But overall, Microsoft, it was a good one. They showed a lot of stuff. A lot of it's like some of it's this year. A lot of it's undated still, or
that was so weird.
Very loose, like
loose windows.
Yeah, it's 2024, and you're like, you said 2024 a year ago.
Yes.
Like,
how this works is we get more
is definitely
specific
one
things.
where I was like,
yeah.
And I think Indiana Jones as well. Both of them were still like, yeah, it's 2024. So I'm like, we know. You gonna give us anything else?
Yes, exactly.
Because I'm not trusting your 2024 that much now.
Well, and then MSG3, the Delta, Snake Eater Delta.
Yeah, it didn't have a date either.
No date at all. I was like, I have that on a Fantasy Critic. I'm fucked. That one is not coming out. If it didn't even say 2024. Oh, man. It's
supposedly, maybe you'll see more of it during the deep dive stuff. But
well, on Tuesday, Xbox podcast is going to have a deep dive into it. The podcast specifically.
Maybe but I don't know why they would release it there and it's small. Like,
I don't know.
This is where people are watching. This is the thing that like has the most eyes. So I would think that you would put.
So would I
put it there? I don't know. But yeah, that was really cool. Do you want to shift to like just general stuff from Game Fest stuff that I saw that like there's so much I haven't seen, but
let's do that.
There's been a few things. Horizon Adventures.
That looks fucking rad. Fucking rad. My daughter, we watched it together and she was like, I want to play this. She's having an adventure and it's a female lead. She didn't say lead. She's like a female main character. And I was like, hell yeah, dude, let's go.
With robot dinosaurs? Yes.
Oh my god, it looks so good. And then
hopefully they get more Lego sets because I want my tall neck. They're making a game. You got to give me more, right?
Absolutely, they have got to. There's no way they don't. Oh my god, it's just ripe for the picking, right?
Yeah, it says this holiday.
Yeah, that and again, there's another one where it didn't say like a specific date. And I think it's just giving people like fucking breathing room, maybe. Like, let's not worry, or maybe they're worried about other dates, so they're like, we're not going to put a date until someone else puts a date. I don't know what.
Yeah, that excited me. I was like, yes, let's go. Because I know there had been rumors of this thing happening, but I was like, no way. Why would Lego make a Horizon game?
And release it on the Nintendo Switch.
I know.
What the fuck? I
Yeah.
mean, that's great. That's smart. The Nintendo Switch has 130
Yeah.
million Switches out in the wild
Yeah.
or whatever. So
Oh, it's perfect.
yeah, it makes sense.
What was the other one? We saw another Monster Hunter Wilds trailer. That's great. It's still a year away, but I think this is the one where it's like there is crossplay on everything. Well, that was the announcement.
Mhm.
Like the previous Monster Hunters haven't had crossplay, so this has crossplay. So no matter where you're playing it, you're going to be playing with everybody, and that's cool. Give me more Monster Hunter. I want to hunt things, and I want to hunt things in a big open world. Now riding a mount, where I can use my weapon while riding a mount. So, that was neat. What else was there that I? Oh, Alan Wake 2 stuff. That's right.
Yeah, right. Shadow Drop, the DLC, the 3
Yeah,
episodes.
I was 3 episodes. Do you know how that's been? Seen anything on like how people are receiving it?
Yeah. So a number of people on the Axe of Blood God Discord started playing through it, and mainly it's that it's fucking short. It is very short. So people are kind of bummed about that. But overall, like what they're playing, people seem to like, and it's you don't have to play the main game to play the DLC because they're fucking vignettes inside of the
that fake TV show,
Night Springs or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think overall what I've heard from people playing it is that. So we'll see what the reviews are when they come out, because that's on my Fantasy Critic.
I think so. So short but high quality.
That's what I heard. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I don't
and
know
we're doing
much...
physical editions of Alan Wake 2.
Yes, so isn't that?
I'm not doing the limited run games $200 crazy thing, but I will get a physical copy of the PS5. I think I'll do the
Is it still through limited run games though?
No, that's through Best Buy or anywhere. Limited run is only doing the big collector's edition that has like
got it.
Alan's
oh yeah, I see it there.
Statue that he's holding, and a couple other things which I don't need.
I just loaded up limited run games to check that question, and I see they have an Animal Well fucking physical edition.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I might be jumping on that.
If you buy it from there, I think anyone who buys from there, just to understand that you're not buying buying it for release day to play it. You're buying it as a collector's thing that you will get eventually.
Well, I mean, you know, the only game I bought from here, actually there's two. I bought Shredder's Revenge, which I got.
Yep.
But I bought Pentiment, which I already have on Game Pass. So you know, it'll come in. They said it'll come in September, which Jesus, I mean, that's a long time.
It takes them a while. I don't think they go into production with this stuff until they've done.
No,
pre-orders.
Probably not. Yeah,
they figure out how much they need to make, and they kind of make it to the pre-orders.
Oh yeah, this will
because they close their pre-orders.
Sure.
And
it says Animal Well will ship October to November 7th or so.
Yeah, and there it is. Pre-orders close June 23rd. So
yeah, I'm pre-ordering right now as we speak.
So yeah, they'll wait till June 23rd, get the number of copies they need to make, and then make that plus probably like 10%. And that's it. So yeah, I bet the Alan Wake one isn't until their website is not happy with my browser. Okay.
Are you blocking things?
I am blocking things. There we go. Yeah. They're saying that that's not going to ship until December, the Alan Wake one.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But again, that's the thing with limited run. Just for people to expect. Sometimes I've heard people be like, "Oh, I pre-ordered there. Why am I not getting it?" I'm like, "Oh, you don't. That's not what it really is."
Yeah, you're not getting a day and date.
That's not. You're choosing because you want a collector's edition, a special thing. If you actually want a day and date, just get it day and date, the normal edition, and order the collectors separately. But I saw that stuff was really interesting to me. Man, it was so weird. I wasn't able to watch like a ton of stuff.
Well, the Summer Games Fest honestly didn't have a ton for me. At least.
It was a lot of stuff you had heard about.
Yeah.
New trailers for a lot of stuff. New trailer for Hyper Light Breaker, which was really cool. I watched the Devolver one, which was so weird. Oh my god, because it's Devolver.
Yeah, I did not watch. I did not catch it.
And
I only caught the trailer.
The one that I enjoyed the most out of there was the what was it called? Tenjutsu, which is being done by the designer of Dead Cells.
Yeah, and it looks very much in the combat, and the things that
Yeah.
you pick up, the roguelike structure of the combat,
Yep.
looked very much Dead Cells.
Like the vibe. Really like the vibe.
That's the only one that I watched from the Devolver because you linked it. I didn't watch. I don't.
There was another
pretty
one
weird.
that was it was very weird. That they did announce that they are publishing a game from Heart Machine that
Oh.
isn't Hyper Light Breaker. There's a new game. It didn't have gameplay, but Heart Machine's other game they're working on is being published by Devolver. So, and a lot of like the Devolver Direct actually was pretty simple too, of just showing like Call to the Lamb is getting a couch co-op mode, which is actually very cool. The Angerfoot.
Oh yeah, it's like an FPS with your foot.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Is getting a bunch of like, is that out or is that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, they showed off a bunch of the different like shoes you can get. It comes out in July, so July like 11th, fire shoes, and like I'm like, you gotta at least imagine that they might actually sell some of these sneakers as like a small thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that was pretty weird in the Devolver showcase overall. It was fun though. As Devolver stuff was. It was Volvy's 15th birthday.
So they created that character that long ago?
They didn't create a character. They've made up a character that they used in the last Devolver Direct, and now this one. They're making a fake history to Devolver.
Oh my god, it's so interesting.
Like that's deep Devolver lore.
Yeah, of course.
Possessors is the Heart Machine game.
Okay, cool.
Side-scroller platform fighter inspired combat mechanics. So I don't know. But yeah, I would say the Game Fest was pretty like, okay. I'm gonna be honest. The rest of this year in general, there isn't going to be I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises for the rest of this year. We kind of know what's here, and we've known what's here for a while.
Well, and also surprises are fucking risky.
Yeah,
and people are adverse to risk. Going back to that comment, the flag you planted earlier, you're a little worried, maybe.
Yeah, the industry is weird right now. Well, we still having the layoffs and everything, but I think there's a large amount of consideration on we have all these like cemented games into the market. Like I get monthly data that I can newsletters that give me data on like what games people are playing and what they're spending money on, and it's the same games they've been spending money on for years.
It's like Roblox, Fortnite,
COD. Like Helldivers was a nice little jolt into it, but now it's falling away.
Yeah.
You get little jolts into it, but then they just fall away. But then you just have these like stable of just continuous games. League, Valorant.
Yep.
Overwatch is in there still. Even though people say they hate it, they play it. Destiny 2 is in there. And it's like now you're not just competing for people's money, you're just competing against these games for time.
Oh, it's time.
And people have invested these games as hobbies, and how many games can exist as hobbies?
Exactly.
And I think we're getting to the point where it's like, okay, this is getting complicated. And it's even getting complicated for the studios like making those games of being like, well, do we just do this forever?
Yeah.
Can we make something else? And it's like, no, not really. Sorry.
You're stuck making this because that makes all the money.
Yeah. And this will, of course, change eventually, I'm sure. It's just we're in a pretty, I think, awkward spot right now.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting, too, because so far this year, man, indies have been, in my opinion, killing it in terms of, like, new shit, interesting stuff, but I don't think it moves the needle in terms of...
but it falls away very quickly.
Yeah,
There's
right.
every week there's a new crazy
Right.
cool
Lethal
indie
Company
thing.
was up and then gone. Et cetera, et cetera. So Power World
Our
up,
World was up
gone.
and
Yep.
gone.
Yep.
Even things that get like you were talking Animal Well blipped in, it's gone.
Yep.
Like it's still selling. It's probably doing fine for the studio, but
And that
it's not
was good.
it's not changing anything.
But that was gonna be my
Um,
point. Is like the money isn't enough to like turn the big heads, but like for the people who are making those small games, like Balatro, for example, or whatever, like
yeah,
probably life changing money,
yep,
and then that's fine for them. But geez, yeah.
yeah,
And then investment is drying up a bit because of some of this
oh
stuff.
yeah,
Like, why would I
it's
invest in this
definitely a
new
bit.
stuff if
Yeah,
people are just playing old stuff?
yeah,
And then risks, like you said, not a lot of surprises. Why would you have a surprise? Like, here's a surprise game like Neve or whatever it was at
yeah,
Summer Games Fest. Um, that's not going to sell a ton. That's not going to pull people away from Call of Duty for sure.
yeah,
Et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah. And like, what is like Steam? What are people playing on Steam, right?
and where do you
But
go to
like,
look up this data
I'm on a
right
couple of
now?
newsletters. I have to. What are the
Well,
newsletters?
but you usually, I mean specifically, like, what are people playing on Steam right now? You have like a
Oh,
website
I
you go
just go to
to,
Steam
.db or
store stats.
Steam Store
Store
Stats.
stats
Interesting.
most played and it gives you current
Oh
players and peak
Jesus, it's on this
today's.
fucking tab. I've never looked
And
at this
everyone's
tab in
playing
my
this
life.
stupid banana game.
What?
And it literally is just a clicker game with a banana.
Oh my god. See, there you go.
But it's free to play. There's no money. But you look at the CS, Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, the stupid banana game. PUBG, still up in the top 5. Destiny 2, they had an expansion. They're up there. Apex
Yep.
Legends is always in the top 10. Narca Blade Point does stay up there. Elden Ring has been spiking back up in preparation for expansion, but
Yep.
it had fallen down. COD is a little lower
And
now, but
Wallpaper Engine is number 10.
yeah, Wallpaper Engine.
Okay.
Make your own wallpapers. Enjoy. Rust is always there. TF2. Is this one? Yeah. Recent reviews overwhelmingly negative. 13% positive.
This is the first time that I've ever joined in with one of these. I changed my review to negative because the
I
bots
heard bots
suck.
are insane, right?
They're awful.
Like,
I stopped playing because of
what
bots.
the hell?
They're really bad, and they won't do shit about it. So
Yeah.
hopefully they will.
Stardew Valley is always in the top 20, it seems. That game never stops. BG3 has stayed there. Like, you get these, like, BG3 comes in and stays there. But that's like, you get one or two of those games a year at most that kind of stick around. Most of them just fall off this chart pretty fast.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. Like you said, people make life-changing money, but if you're like, in a lot of ways, that's great. You made that money for this game. It doesn't help build new studios, though. Because it's probably not enough money to sustain the development time for another game. The tail isn't there. So that's what worries me more than anything is that you'll get these like indie successes, blip on, great, fall off, and then they're like, well, we can't do anything else. That's cool. I take this money and I can hopefully get through another game, but that game better be successful or I'm out of money. And like you said, investment, it is true. Investment's down. It's hard to get investment right now.
Oh shit, Diablo 4, they dropped the base price. Sorry, randomly bringing that up.
Yeah. And it was also on sale.
It was $34.99,
yeah, for PC.
But now the Vessel of Hatred bundle is the $69 one.
Okay.
And this banana game is listed as a psychological horror game.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Do I need to play this banana game?
I don't know. It's a clicker game.
It's a clicker game in which you click a banana.
In a banana,
gain
you
more
click
bananas.
Banana to even more bananas. Each banana is made by the community in Discord. Come hang out with us and let's grow into something awesome. Okay. But why is it psychological horror?
I don't know. It's the predominant tag as well, so that makes me worried.
Uh-huh.
And curious. So I'm just going to add this one to library and see what's going to happen. Click on that during some meetings, I guess. But yeah, honestly pretty quiet. There was some indie stuff shown off, but I think overall, like, I'm waiting for Nintendo's thing that is rumored to be this month at some point.
Do you
See
have
what
any
they're gonna do.
indication of when? Do you think they're going to wait till all this other stuff is done?
I think not this week, next week
That's what
probably.
I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's this week. I think it will be 18th, 19th, or 20th. Is my thought.
Sure.
Seems about right. And I feel like Sony's going to do something in here.
Really? They just did one.
Did they show anything worthwhile?
That's a different question.
They said Astrobot. That's true.
Yeah, that was the one thing that was, it was a state of play, so it was like not a fucking showcase. But Astrobot was like going to be my game of the
Japan?
year. Man, so.
It was no, it was the day that I was on.
You were either coming back.
Right, that's why I don't.
It was
really
the day that I arrived in
it.
Humboldt.
Right, that's when they showed Concord, and I was like,
yes,
"Oh, you gotta be kidding me!" Big sigh.
It was the 30th. It was Thursday the 30th. You would just come.
Yeah, I was pretty tired. I don't remember anything of that day. Oh yeah, it was new Dynasty Warriors. I was down for that.
After finishing Age of Calamity, I'm like, interesting.
Dynasty Warriors. Does this one have?
This one can run well.
Can we play co-op together in this?
That would be awesome. If you can, that'd be great. I know you can play co-op in Lego Horizon Adventures.
Yeah. But I'm looking at it now. I'm like, what? I do remember this. I was very tired. I don't remember a lot of it.
Concord had an awesome CG trailer. That was really interesting. And then what it was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, another hero shooter. Enjoy. Until Dawn. Oh, Path of that's they showed the Path of Exile 2 thing, and that was going to be in its crossplay on consoles and everything. Silent Hill 2. That's right. Monster Hunter Wilds trailer. Which one? Silent Hill 2? Yeah.
I think it looks bad.
Oh yeah, and then Astrobot was their like topper on that one, which was a good topper, but
amazing topper.
That was the only thing was I was like, is this all you have to show? Like, really?
I mean they've telegraphed that for a while that they don't have anything for this year. And,
that's true.
There's not a lot of dollars being spent on games, they say, but Jesus Christ, it feels like that's not true. It's just not growing at the rate.
Yeah.
But still, they buried the lead with the Astrobot thing because there was an update to fucking Astro's Playroom.
Yeah.
Which I have not gotten into yet, but I need to. I'm excited to get back in there. Astrobot looks great. It's $60, so that tells me it's a meaty experience. It's not just like a $40 thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I see you picked up a few games on Fantasy Critic, Luigi's Mansion, Nintendo World Championships, Lego Horizon Adventures, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I picked up EA Sports College Football 25 because I'm a moron and I'm very excited for that game.
Probably.
That's the only reason why.
EA is attached to it.
Yep, I'm stupid, but people are very excited about this.
The thing is, you're not stupid, and you picked up all the counter picks, and I forgot to pick up counter picks a long time ago.
Yeah, you could have picked up a few of my terrible ones. Like
I know, and I was like, why didn't I do? Just forgot. I'll be honest. That literally is just forgetting. So,
well, you still got
we'll see. I can pick up some of the ones that aren't coming out this year.
You could just completely fuck me over by counterpicking Hollow Knight Silksong.
It's not here. Like I said in our Discord, unless it's a Nintendo's, I don't see this coming out this year. Like, there's just no info on it other than they have now store pages. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
Maybe they're just going to shadow drop it at some point. They could, but it also feels like
absolutely could. Yeah.
Also, doesn't feel like if they'd want to do that or not. If they want to have some build up. I mean, I don't know the last time we've even seen a trailer for it. Is that 2 years ago?
2 years ago, Xbox.
Jesus.
Yep, exactly. So,
or maybe they just decided they're like, you know what? We really fucked up by saying that we were going to have that out in a year.
Yeah.
Now we're just not going to say anything ever.
I think that's right. I still feel like it's going to be this year. I feel like they don't need to be part of anyone's showcase for them to just put out a fucking thing on Twitter or YouTube thing or whatever.
Yep,
Be like,
say
it's
it's
out.
out now.
It's out now. Go. Like everyone will get it. They don't even need marketing. I think it's stupid not to do that, but I can't see it coming to Nintendo. I don't know why I can't see it coming to
Yeah.
Nintendo. That's stupid. There's no reason why it couldn't, but because of the big Xbox thing and it coming to Game Pass, I thought it was going to be here for certain. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Man.
I don't know. There's stuff on there that I'm like, we haven't heard anything about the rise of the Golden Idol anytime soon. Recently,
Yeah.
I was expecting something at this point. Like,
Right.
they
Yeah,
had
because it's only estimated for this year.
they have a demo. Demo went live on June 9th.
Oh, okay, that was today.
Oh, because that's true. Tomorrow, Next Fest starts tomorrow.
Next Fest. So maybe we'll get dates there, or is it just because of the demo?
It says a demo, but I'm like, okay, if you put a demo up, you should at least. Are you close? Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, estimated for this year. Maybe I was wrong.
I don't know. But yeah, tomorrow starts Next Fest, so we'll have a lot of miscellaneous demos and things.
Great, I can demo.
But overall, game. It's going to be a quiet year, I think. But there's some cool stuff. There's still a lot of games coming out. It's just back to that whole thing. I feel like there's a lot of games coming out, and none of them stick.
Yeah, but they're huge splashes, and then they don't stick. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Helldivers stuck the most, and I don't know what happened, what they did to themselves, other than the Sony thing.
Requiring the Sony thing, that was great. I think that's basically it, but I mean, it's so hard to keep people's attention.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Because I played 30 hours in the first month or so, or whatever, and then I haven't played much since then.
You can't screw up your update plan. You can't screw up your mess with your audience all, which happened to them. Like, there's so much you have to do right, and any little mistake will throw things into disarray, and people will just move on. There's always such high quality content coming out.
Yeah, or there's old games to play, you know?
Yeah.
There was no Xbox handheld. But the IGN interview with Spencer, he very loudly hinted about it. So maybe it's in the pipeline eventually. I think
just make your operating system better for it, because that's really the only thing holding back. Like, there's other just handheld PCs, really good ones now that are coming. There was some stuff shown in Computex just happened. I think that somewhere in Asia. And that's where a bunch of new stuff is shown off. NVIDIA had their big keynote, AMD. And there's a bunch of new PC handhelds coming from these main manufacturers, with OLEDs and better battery life and stuff. And they're all stuck on Windows handheld.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, no, that's a bad experience. It's just bad. And I'm like, I just don't feel like Microsoft and the Xbox has a great foundation to build from. It's enjoy, have fun.
Speaking of Xbox and something to build off of, did the 3 consoles too, where they've announced the special edition Xbox Series X with the disc drive, 2 terabyte. It's got the green flex, the Galaxy Black. Fucking $600 if you want an Xbox Series X with a disc anymore. Well, not right now, but when this launches.
Oh yeah, because they don't want to sell you discs. They want you to just have Game Pass.
Well, yeah.
That's all that they're all in on that.
They have to be now. They've got to make this work. Or what's I forget his name. Sonny? No, the guy in charge of Microsoft, whose name escapes me. But it's you got to make this profitable, or we will cut the money.
Yeah, or you're like, why are you spending money on this and not more on AI?
Do you want to pivot real quick to what we've been playing? You've been playing some things on the
a lot of Diablo 4.
Oh, okay.
Definitely when I got back, because that was about they had the Loot Reborn update, and I was like, I'm just diving in. I have a level 90 rogue now. I've completed the season pass.
Damn. All right.
I have fun with it. I'm like, okay, I get what this game is, and I feel like it knows its identity now.
Yep.
They fixed the loot, made the loot easier to manage what you want. They've made the parts where I found it tedious before are far less tedious on the gearing. So just general, I'm like, okay, I get it. This is your own game now. Diablo 4 is also not Diablo 3, where Diablo 3 was not Diablo 2. Like,
Yeah.
their own action RPGs, and I'm having fun in Diablo 4. Better activities in the world, more things to do at in-game. Like, it's just a better game.
That's interesting. That's good. That's good.
And I'm just happy for it. I'm like, cool. And then Vessel of Hatred will come out and introduce a new class, which looks really cool, and I can have fun with that. So yeah, I played a lot. I've been enjoying that. I'm gonna probably work towards getting. I think I'll try to get to level 100 with my rogue. Seems like I'm at 90. Leveling doesn't take that long anymore, and I think next week they're giving a 25% boost to XP.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect time to jump in then.
Yeah, just have a little fun. I've really enjoyed that. Weirdly, on vacation, I was like, I'm going to play some on my DS and stuff. On the plane, I played Radiant Historia a lot.
How is that?
And that was neat. It's neat. The double timeline stuff going on and having to like shift to different timelines to cause events to unblock on the opposite timeline. Very neat. Very neat how it's presented and how you can jump around. The only thing that bugs me about it is that the combat, which is a turn-based combat, has some grid stuff going on. It's great for a bit, and it's neat whenever you're doing bosses, but when you're just like traversing the world, it gets old real fast. Because I have to think way too much, even in like the simplest fights of being like, okay. And at some point, you're like, in these type of games, you're just like, I don't want to think that much for the most basic combats. Like, I just want to move past it, keep going. Right. So that kind of started holding me back of being like, oh, I have to go wander through this place again and do a bunch of fights that I don't want to deal with. Neat story though, I will say that. Neat story, neat characters. It's an older Atlas RPG. It was on the DS and then the like a remaster, not even a remaster, extra content version on the 3DS. That was a lot of fun. But other than that, I didn't really play any games while I was in Japan. I was so tired. I would just basically just lay there and be like, I'm back in my hotel room. I'm going to stare at my phone for a little bit. Weirdly, being like 10, 11 o'clock at night there was when people were waking up here.
Yeah.
So that's like you'd see me texting you or responding in Discord, like when you guys were waking up for the most part.
Yeah, I got that. You sent that picture when you were leaving, and I didn't see it because I went to bed like 10:30. So I woke up and I saw it. I was like, oh, he's leaving now. And then it was like 2 hours later, like I landed. I was like, wait, I messed up the timeline here.
Yeah. So I didn't do that. I think I said this in the Discord when I was first gone. My son was he was just going through games, trying to figure out something to stick with while he's playing there. And sometime on the flight over, he put Chrono Trigger in. And he started playing Chrono Trigger. And about 3 hours later, we're still on our flight, because it's like a 10-hour flight. He turns to me, he's like, Chrono Trigger is really good. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And then he kept playing, he's like, this game is really good, Dad. And I'm like, yeah, it is. He finished and he's like, this is one of the better games I've ever played. I'm like, yes, you are correct.
Did he finish?
Yeah, he beat it.
Very cool.
Yeah. He beat it about halfway through the trip. Got all the characters. He got Magus. He walked away. Was like, I'm not fighting you. He really enjoyed that.
That's very cool.
Yeah, he really enjoyed the game a lot. I was really surprised. I'll be honest.
It's an amazing.
I don't know if you. Yeah, it is an amazing game. I just don't know how it would resonate with him from like the stuff that he typically plays and is interested in, and being like. And he's like, no, this is really good. He was really invested in it. Cool. So, for everyone here listening, play Chrono Trigger. It's really good.
please. It's so
Oh,
good. Give us a 2D, 3D, 2D remake.
yeah.
Square, please, 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 please.
They
But
should do it
it's so
with
playable.
Kira Toyama passing away.
Mm.
Be like, here's our tribute to him, as we can um, make a nice version of Chrono Trigger. Yeah, it's still playable though. You can get it. You can play it on Steam. There's a Steam version of it.
Yep.
Is it on the Switch?
No.
Online. It's not one
No.
on there, is it?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
If you have a DS and feel like spending some money, getting the DS version is very highly recommended.
Yeah,
it's a
the one I
really
played.
good version of it. And I'm very happy I have a copy of that. But I haven't played didn't play a ton while I was there. Just on the flights, Radiant Historia. Oh, that's right. No, I did play one other thing coming back. I did find in Japan, I picked up, it was at one of the used stores, Switch version of Deedlit and the Wonder Labyrinth, in Wonder Labyrinth.
I don't know what that is.
Record of Lotus War, Deedlit, and Wonder Labyrinth. It's on Steam.
Okay.
It is a Metroidvania where you play Deedlit the Elf from Record of Lotus War. And it is... I wouldn't say it's we're not talking Hollow Knight Metroidvania levels or anything, but it's a very competent and well-made Metroidvania. Some neat mechanics. And I've been having a good time with that one. Definitely working my way through that. Great pixel art. That one was fun. And I haven't played it yet, but it was also on super sale at one point, and I just picked it up and had it come in. Was Star Ocean Second Story R.
Oh yeah, that was
because it was super. It was super cheap. I was I have Amazon gift card stuff, so I'm like, sure, I want it. So
yeah, dropped down to $35 or whatever.
Yeah, I was like, okay, it's worth it. I haven't touched that one yet though. But I do recommend you're like, man, I just want a Metroidvania. Deedlit and Wonder Labyrinth could do a lot worse.
Very cool.
And if you know Record of Lotus War, it's kind of fun in that way. And you're like, why does this game exist? It's a weird throwback to 90s anime. So
yeah, that's a name I haven't heard in a very long time.
Yeah.
Anime title.
So
that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been messing with since being back. But other than that, there's definitely been some nights where I'm just like, I'm so tired, I can't do anything. I'm just gonna sit here and watch Godzilla -1.
Fucking great movie, my God.
Yeah, it's so
people
good.
were right.
Yeah.
And I never thought about Godzilla or reflected on it and never seen it. And then I saw this one. I was like, holy shit, Godzilla is the A-bomb. Godzilla is American military might. And I was like, I'm having this profound thought. And then I looked it up and people were like, yeah, duh. That's what everyone thinks. And that's what the point of it is. Like, oh, okay, this is not such a profound thought. Never mind.
Yeah, but I will say the -1, especially, it doesn't hit home on... It adds probably the strongest character arc I've seen in a Godzilla movie that I've seen. The main character, and then also his journey through that movie reflects a lot on weirdly what I was talking about, how society was treating people who have gone through these tragedies. At the time, there was some profound stuff in there that I was not expecting a Godzilla movie to actually reference of how Japanese military leaders of that time through World War II really saw life as cheap, would just throw away the soldiers. You shouldn't be alive, just die. If you didn't die for your cause, then you're worthless. Not building ejection seats into planes. You should just die. That's kind of how the kamikaze thing came about. Which you don't see a lot of in, I would say, a lot of modern Japanese stuff, kind of being very critical. We've been reading a lot of them that here in our household of before going to Japan, doing some teaching on like this manga called Showa, which is kind of a Japanese soldier as he grew up and went through World War II, and his reflection on all that in a manga form of being like, and yeah, there's how horribly he was treated because like his platoon survived when they were not expected to, and leadership was like, you should be dead.
Yeah.
Why aren't you dead? And the
cheaply they
Godzilla
treat
minus
it, right?
one
Yeah.
references some of that.
Yeah, that was like
In a way I was unexpecting. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, it was one of the more profound parts of the movie where it's just like, they treat us so cheaply. Like they just want us to die. And it just seemed about what the kamikaze, the
Yeah.
comment on the kamikaze pilots and him being that. And
Yeah.
I want to say more, but I don't want to spoil this movie.
Yeah, but it is a really good movie. I was like, when I first watched it, I was like, holy crap, this is a Godzilla movie that's just like straight up good and actually has a lot to say.
Yeah, excellent.
Where I say the Godzilla movies we saw when growing up, like the original Godzilla has a lot to say, but then it got pretty damn silly.
Oh yeah, it just got very
our
much monsters
and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
monsters beating each other up. Mothra versus Godzilla or whatever.
Yeah, it just got very silly, and this was one that really brought it back. I think to kind of the core and being like, yeah, let's talk about some of these. Let's use this as a lens to look at some of these issues historically.
Yep, absolutely.
So everyone should watch it. It's on Netflix. It's
Please
great.
God, it's great.
So yeah, what have you been playing? We've had weeks.
I've transformed into a different kind of player apparently. After RPG backlog digging through Final Fantasy 12, I played 1,000 times Resist or 1,000x Resist, whatever we're gonna call it, and played the whole thing. And it was about 14 to 15 hours. It's a mix of a walking simulator is not the right term to start with. I guess to say a mix of visual novel and walking simulator.
Sure.
Really, it's just like it's a visual novel in that you are interacting with the characters and just reading story. It's all voiced. It's deeply voiced. Everything is voiced. At some points, I would turn it off and just read because I could read faster than I can talk, of course. But sometimes I'd leave it on because the voice acting was very good. But then, when the discussion was done, you'd walk to a different area and then start it again, and it would be very long discussions. It's a sci-fi story with some time travel elements where you're flipping back and forth through time to kind of progress the story. The story is basically there was a pandemic that hit and people died, but this child actually, this teen, was immune. So the government or this entity takes her away, and it's kind of her choice to go, but takes her away and clones her, and these clones populate the world, and you're interacting with those clones, and these clones develop this whole hierarchy amongst themselves and split into different groups based on their function. The main character is a watcher who watches things. There's another one who's a fixer. There's a healer. There's the principal who kind of runs everything. There's a knower who knows everything. And this is not a spoiler, but because it starts off the game this way, your main character starts off the game by killing the original All-Mother, they call her, but she's the original person that they cloned everything off of. It's within the first 2 minutes. That's how it starts, and then you're kind of figuring out what the fuck, what happened here. So that's most of the story, and it gets deeper and deeper and spins out further and further, and you think you know what's happening, then you don't, and twists and turns, and digs into a lot of like post-pandemic, during pandemic, COVID stuff. It's not mentioning COVID, but it's very much exploring that story, which was really interesting for me. There's a huge Hong Kong protest piece, which happened during COVID, basically, and then just the diaspora or the diaspora culture, and like we're an Asian diaspora here in Canada or whatever, and then people come from Hong Kong, from China, from wherever, and they're trying to assimilate, and what's that interaction like between people who are here and the people who are assimilating? How are people treated? There's a lot to dig into there. There's some very, I thought, subtle LGBTQIA plus themes throughout, and it just was a very, like 90%, like a very interesting story. I felt like 10% probably could have been cut off, but whatever. It kept me going till the end, and this is Yeah, people have been raving about this game, and it's good. I come down like an 8.5 out of 10. Like it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's not the most amazing thing I've ever played, but it's certainly, um, you know, it's
Compelling.
probably yeah, it's absolutely compelling. Goes on a little too long, and it's if you are not someone who vibes with just walking around and talking to people, this is not your game by any stretch of the imagination because
Well,
that's all it is.
sure. It's kind
Um,
of how I would say it for 13 Sentinels. I'll be honest.
well, it's funny
Like,
because I'm listening to a podcast about that and whether or not it's the going to ascend to RPG godhood for this podcast I listen to, and yeah, very much sounds like the same kind of thing.
it's just
And
like,
so
guess what? Yeah.
people
I definitely
compared
don't
to
want to
it.
get into the conversation of like, what is game? It's like,
Yeah, no,
it can be a lot of different things. And I think we've now, I think in a lot of ways, games like you just described here with the 1,000 times resist or whatever, however you're supposed to say that.
I've heard it both ways. I don't actually know.
Yeah. Um, and like 13 Sentinels is showing that like the a genre that like the visual novel is expanding to other things. Like
Yeah.
it is warping into things that don't clearly fit in the visual novel moniker anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of is, but it's not in some ways, like, which is great. Like that should happen. We should see evolution um of those mechanics and storytelling. So makes me excited. Where'd you play this? Did you play it on Steam or did
I
you
played
play
it
it?
on Steam Deck
Okay.
entirely, and it's very interesting because what else did I play? I played some Fallout New Vegas.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
Fallout New Vegas. Um, about 90 minutes. The fucking 1,000 times resist ate the shit out of my Steam Deck battery.
Oh,
So I don't know if it's like poorly optimized, what's going on, but it just decimated my battery and where I was everywhere. I guess I brought the wrong charger. It charged
hmm.
so slowly that I was worried about not having battery to get
Oh
back on the
weird.
plane, basically. But no, I played on Steam Deck. I played great. There were no issues at all, except for the battery. So so I played that. I played some Fallout New Vegas, obviously, because I finished Fallout show and it was fucking spectacular. So I started playing Fallout New Vegas, and immediately it hooked me. It's really quite good in terms of the opening
Yeah.
story, and you're just
Yeah.
invested in what's going on in that little town. Not sure how long I'll stick with it. We'll see. Played a bunch of Undertale because I'm playing it for the RPG Backlog
Hmm.
podcast. It's real. I don't know if you've played Undertale.
Nope.
I think you should. I really think you should. It's
It's
short.
just real weird.
It's real weird. It really fucks with convention of what the RPG is, and I think you would
Okay.
like it as a game in general, but as a developer, I think you should play it.
Sure.
And it's not too long. And I think you shouldn't watch it. I think you should play it because
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
my friend and I who are playing it are vastly different experience. He's like, "What the fuck you were able to do?" Blah blah blah. I was like, "I didn't know you couldn't not do that." And he's like, "I couldn't even do that." I was like, "Wow, this is so neat." And then with my daughter, we fucking finished. We pulled through and finished Age of Calamity together. Thank God we watched a lot of Beard Bear playthroughs and just watching. My daughter's like a sponge, man. She watched him play and knew ways to beat different scenarios. So we powered through and got to the credits. And as soon as we finished, she wanted to play Pokemon Violet,
Okay.
which has been awesome because this summer is going to be the summer of reading for us. And I was like, okay, I know there's a lot of reading in this game, so we're going to practice our English reading because she's pretty good at Spanish reading, but English reading is, because the phonetics is not there in English and the spelling is
Yeah.
fucking crazy. We need more practice. So we loaded up and she's like, can we play this in Spanish? And I was like, well, yeah, you need Spanish practice this summer too. So let's do it. We'll do English practice elsewhere. And it's been awesome. It has been intense though. It is fucking talky, very
Yeah.
talky. And it's Spain Spanish, so there's the
Oh
os that
sure.
we don't use in
Yeah.
Mexican Spanish. But otherwise it's amazing. I'm having her read parts of the sentences, some full sentences, whatever. We're digging through, trying to balance what's frustrating. Like try not to get too frustrated, basically.
Yeah.
And I'll read the rest to her. And we're just playing this fucking game in Spanish, and I'm just like writing down a ton of words I didn't know before, and now I know. And it's great because, she understands Spanish and she's like understands when I read it, she understands it. She just has a hard time reading in
Sure.
general. And I'm just like, oh my God, we're 3 hours into fucking Pokemon Violet and we are playing this completely in Spanish and everything is clear. I know
Okay.
everything is happening. And I was like, thank God. This is I know people have learned how to read playing RPGs,
Yeah.
but like it's happening here. And thank God it's simple. Like it's not, you can work out through the context if you don't know what a certain
Yeah.
word is. Like I know what's probably happening here. So it's really super interesting.
If only I could learn Japanese that way.
Oh God, man, that'd be
The
so
problem is kanji.
hard. Yes,
That's actually the
exactly.
problem. It's
Just give
not
me
that
the
I
hiragana.
can catch the word, but they'll pack kanji in there, and you're like, well, do I know that kanji? If I don't, I can't figure it
You
out.
cannot
Like,
puzzle it out. It's not
there's
fair
not a
in any
puzzle
way.
here. There
Yeah,
is literally
exactly.
just memorization. Enjoy.
Yep, that's right. Exactly right.
Because
So
I tried at some points. I was like, oh, never mind. And my
it is
wife.
a lot of memorization. I remember when I was studying Japanese, I was like, if everything could be in hiragana or katakana, then I could like muddle my way through it because it's all phonetic. But then you throw in the kanji and you're like, nope.
Yep.
What the fuck is that? Like,
Yep.
this doesn't even look like a thing it's supposed to be. I don't.
Yep.
Wow, this is wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we've been playing. That's
Cool.
what I've been playing. It's been a lot of fun. Summer's here, so very excited. Very, very good stuff ahead.
Last day of school will be a week from Tuesday.
Oh,
but
nice.
we
You're
have
still
the
going.
coming week is a bunch of 8th grade graduation for my son, and then they have their performance of The Tempest on Thursday, and like have pool party for like end of school. It's my son's birthday this week.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Happy
All sorts
birthday
of
to
things,
him.
but I think we'll get through this week, and then middle of next week will be like, it's summer now.
Nice.
For all of us, and I think we're all looking forward to that. Although we had like a weird 3 weeks off, so whatever.
Yeah, right.
But that's really cool though.
Yeah. All good. Well, anything else for the podcast tonight? This was a long one.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a bit longer.
Been a while, so this is good.
It had been a while.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. If you made it this long, thank you so much for listening. If you like us, please rate us on your podcast service of choice. Also, check us out on YouTube at Prof and Dev Play Games. And we will be back next week to talk about there's more game news coming. So
yeah, this week's probably going to have a fair amount.
Yeah, it's going to have more stuff. All right, folks. Thanks so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Later, everyone.